Hi, it's Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and today we're checking out this A8 Pro low price wired and also wireless CarPlay and Android doubled-in stereo from OUSMIN. So keep watching for my review. So you've seen me previously review some quite relatively cheap CarPlay aftermarket stereos on this channel, and I have another one to bring you from OUSMIN. This is the A8 Pro, and it's a wired and also wireless CarPlay and also wired and wireless Android Auto receiver. Right now it retails for around about £179. There's two versions of the A8 from OUSMIN. There's an A8 Pro, which does wireless and wired connection, and it has a slightly better dual-core CPU Cortex A9. And there's the A8, which does wired CarPlay and Android Auto. Both feature steering wheel control support. Both have a customizable boot interface. It has a mechanical button instrument at the front, so there's no touch-sensitive buttons to worry about. With this illumination, you can actually also color to suit your car interior as well. It has a metal doubled-in shell, so you can easily mount it, but it doesn't come with a cradle, so you have to buy one if your car doesn't have one already. It has a pretty sharp resolution at 1024 by 600 than most other more conventional car stereos, and has support for multimedia playback through USB, where it supports such files such as MOV, MKV, MP4, AVIs, and it also has multiple language support in English, German, French and Spanish. In the box you get a black faceplate to go around the actual car stereo, the CarPlay doubled-in stereo itself, a cable connection harness with all the various cables clearly labelled to connect it to your car through a harness that you'll have to buy separately. There's also a microphone and a generously long cable length that's attached to it. And at the other end, there's an adhesive pad underneath to attach it to your car interior. There's also an infrared remote to allow you to control the head unit from a distance. And there's a colour user manual that will tell you all about the stereo's many supported functions. So looking at the A8 Pro itself, it's your standard doubled-in stereo with a 7-inch capacitive screen. There's a microphone input directly on the actual headset itself, and there's also a reset button if you need to reset. There's an IR input socket for the remote. And then following this, you've got the main menu button at the top, a volume dial switcher, and also you can actually hold it down to initiate Siri or Google Assistant in Android Auto, and you can also hold it down to turn the head unit on and off. Below this you've got backwards and forward seek buttons, and you can also hold them down to fast forward and rewind as well. And below this you've got a USB-A input port, which you can use to also plug your iPhone or Android into for CarPlay or Android Auto without having to go around the back or connect it to a separate socket. But that is an option as well. Over on the back, you've got the harness connecting sockets. There's a bunch of RF input connectors should you need that, but most of the connections will be dealt with through the harness cables that you get and the harness that you have to buy for your specific vehicle. There's also an antenna port, and lastly, a microphone input socket for the bundled microphone. Attached to the back of the unit is a female USB-A input. From here you can connect your lightning cable or Android cable for USB-C or micro USB, and you connect it into the back here. But that's only if you don't want to use the front socket, for example, and you want to tuck it neatly away in a center console or somewhere else in your car interior. Today I have it installed in my Pioneer demo pod. Normally I've got the SPHDA 120 installed here, but because it's a doubled-in unit, I thought I would share all these speaker and power connection ports, and that allows me to get this stereo installed to show you today. Connection was super simple with the harness that I already have in this Pioneer unit, but you will have to get your own wired harness specifically made for your vehicle, which you can buy separately, and then you attach that to the harness that comes with the stereo. And these ends plug straight into the back of the doubled-in unit itself. So if you know how to strip wires and fuse them together, installation is pretty simple. So once you've got it all connected and you've started it up for the first time, the system will power on and you actually end up on this menu system here. So from the main menu, you've actually got this home button here, which will take you back to all the options on the home screen. First option, you've got radio, just give your standard presets that you can save, and the ability to seek through your FM settings. My area wasn't plugged in here, so I can't really show you that fully working. It's not DAB, so it's just your general FM. Obviously, it won't do high definition in America, I don't believe. We've got CarPlay as the option. My phone is wireless and it's already connected to my phone here. We'll go over that in a second, but we just overview of what the options are. So we've got CarPlay and you've got Car Home that will take you back to the main menu. We've got Android Auto as another option, and we'll go over that in a second. You've got Bluetooth audio, which is also obviously phone connection once you've actually got your phone connected to Bluetooth. You've got your system time here, which you can either pull in from your phone once it's connected, or you can actually manually enter it. You've got an icon here. You can go backwards and forwards between any connected device that you've got. So if it's connected to CarPlay, you can switch to that, and you can switch back quite quickly if you want to take a call or something. You've got a volume option up here, which you can actually manually dial in here, or you can actually use the dial to actually turn it as well. Then you've got your standard back button, which will take you back to whatever menu you've got. That's quite persistent. And you've got this kind of floating button here that we've seen in other dongle Android boxes. By tapping that, you get a secondary menu where you can adjust the brightness. You can turn the screen on and off. You can go straight into equalizer mode. You can mute stereo itself if you wanted to, or change the volume. And then you can also go back or go home from that floating menu option as well. Next menu, you've got your phone options. Obviously, if you've got a phone connected via Bluetooth, you can dial out there. Auto link is basically your screen mirroring through Auto Link app on Android or screen mirroring on your iPhone. USB will allow you to plug in a USB stick through the USB ports and play media. We'll return to that in a minute. AV-in can be a combination of AV equipment, such as like a video recorder or a DVR, playback, and you can play it through there. Also, AV-in is also used for your rear view camera. You also got front camera support. If you've got a compatible front camera with a RF yellow connector, you plug that into the back, and then you can manage your front camera from here. Steering will allow you to map various steering wheel commands from your wheel. So if you wanted to, if it hasn't already got it first time, you can remap them. And then obviously in settings, we've got a menu where you can toggle the language between all these languages, which is a lot more than what I mentioned earlier. Set the time, find out the information of the system, the versions that you're available at the moment, and if you want to be able to update the system through USB updates. And you can also update from the screen here, where you can do a part upgrade or a complete update through a USB stick that you've inserted with the update. Changing the volume is pretty standard, but you can change the volume for all the various outputs that will come. So you can actually independently slide the volume for various things. So if you want your radio to be a lot louder than your CarPlay, for example, or in CarPlay, if you want media or telephone to be louder than the navigation or your music playback, you can do that too. And the same for Android Auto as well. There is CarLife. If you're in Asia and you use CarLife, which is very similar to CarPlay. Equalizer options, you can move it about in the car by simply tapping, and you can also reset it. You've got loudness option, which definitely does enhance the audio a little bit. And obviously I don't have a subwoofer installed. And you've got different sort of set modes where you want to reposition, which is quite nice, where you can actually manually toggle it yourself. That's the volume settings. On the equalizer, you've got a full-blown 8-band equalizer with the various options that you can select through. And that is your equalizer for media. Smart devices, we've got smartphone. Here you can choose between Android Auto or Android Link. And you can also choose between CarPlay or MirrorLink or AirPlay from your iOS device. So you literally tap that and choose which one you want to use. It won't automatically detect, so you will have to go into this menu settings and actually set that and play back. But once you've set, you literally hit CarPlay or Media Link, and then you actually see your screen mirrored on the device, and we'll show you that in a minute. Here you've got wireless CarPlay options and the various devices that have been used through the system. After you've selected it, you can basically go through to the actual device that way. So that might be a nice way if you've got multiple phones that you might want to pair to. But the option isn't front and center, unfortunately. So you will have to draw through the menu to get at it. And for Android Auto, it's exactly the same. As soon as you set up a Android Auto wireless, you get exactly the same menu here as well. So if we'll just keep everything standard and vanilla for now. Finally, we've got Bluetooth and the various devices that you might have paired with it. Radio options are the areas that you've got your radio set to. So if you've just bought it and it's default to Europe, you can set that to other areas such as Japan, Europe, and Asia. The display, you can actually set the brightness, contrast, hue, and saturation. I found that the image was a little bit undersaturated, so I had to slide the contrast and saturation up just to make it a bit more vibrant in the car. You've got mapping of the keys here, and this is the menu that you would use to remap your steering wheel controls. You can go through here, pressing the button, and then you would tell it which button that you want to associate your steering wheel button that's been detected. And you've got your black light levels, and you can also change the illumination level of the colouring on here, as well as what colour of LED to match your instrument clusters as well. In the advanced option area, you've got whether you want this floating dock to be on and off. I can turn it off, so that's good. And whether you want to autoplay anything that's been automatically connected to the car itself. You can take brake detection off should you be looking at media and you've connected that cable directly. Headlamp detect, if I turn that off, the illumination wouldn't turn on, so I've got that off at the moment. Key sound is a little bit annoying. Also touch sound is a little bit annoying, so I turn those two off because they're not the best sounds. DVX support, and you can also mute the audio when you're actually going into the rear view mode. Park line is obviously if you've got a rear view parking camera, you can actually set that up here. I don't have that connected at the moment. Themes, you can change the background, so you only get two options here, but you might be able to load them in through USB media. And the factory settings of resetting the password, you can actually then do a factory reset as well. And you've got an echo test if you want to do any sort of testing of audio delay around the car. Unfortunately, that's all in Chinese and it's not translated. So that's your basic menu options in the actual stereo itself. Now I'm going to quickly just hammer through the various big hitters. So we've got CarPlay. That's wired and wireless. Wireless connection is pretty good actually, and I'll undo the power and then reconnect it again just to show you how fast this thing connects. So we're now booting up. You can change the splash image, I believe. And although we can't connect to CarPlay just yet, and we're into CarPlay. So it's not bad. It's definitely not faster than my own Alpine system, but that's wireless CarPlay for you. I'll just try out some audio tracks just to get rid of this noise that's in the background. And you've basically got the ability to... So it's the same Wi-Fi connection of audio lag, so you're going to have about 2 to 3 seconds between playback or over wireless. So that's all as you would expect. You can also change track through these buttons here if you want something a bit more tactile to press. I do find it a bit odd that you've got the forward smaller than the back button. I would have liked if this was all in alignment and all the same size. I think that would have been a bit aesthetically nicer. But with the GPS coming from the phone itself, then you've obviously got GPS support for your navigation. There's no separate GPS dongle, but if you do have that in the car, I think you can probably wire it up to the loom anyway. Obviously calling will come from this mic here, or the bundled mic that's actually here as well. The cable is super long, so I don't think you'll have any problem locating it in your car. So here, what's the weather like?
It's currently clear and 18 degrees. Temperatures are heading down from 19 degrees to 9.
Open Google Maps. So you've got easy way there, your Siri works. So let's do a call test. Send an audio message to test.
Okay, recording.
Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLive.com, and this is an audio test using the microphone that's built into the back of the stereo.
Great. Send it to test.
Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLive.com, and this is an audio test using the microphone that's built into the back of the stereo.
Great. Send it to test. Okay, it's sent.
So the audio is a little bit hissy. I don't know if that's because of the microphone or there's any interference with some of the cabling at the back. But I'll try this microphone here. So if I unplug the microphone at the back, and hopefully it will use this microphone point here. So let's try that. Send an audio message to test. Wow. Send an audio message to test. Wow, so that mic input does not work at all. I wonder if we can go back to the main menu and tell it to use the mic input here.
A few moments later.
So I don't see any options to switch to this microphone input on the head unit. So I'm going to plug that back in. Review. Hi, this is Anthony from CarPlayLife.com, and this is an audio message to test the audio from the plugged-in microphone.
Great. Send it to test.
Yes.
Okay, it's sent.
So that's some quite worrying audio feedback in the microphone there. So that's a little bit disappointing. But obviously Siri works and commands, so it depends on if you're going to use coiling or not. Or you might be able to plug in the microphone that's already in your car perhaps and get a better experience that way. There's little else to cover on CarPlay. You know what to expect. Wireless works. So I've got a regular lightning cable here. I'm going to plug that into the front socket and then I'm going to connect up the iPhone itself here. So at the moment it's charging and it's still behaving as if it's using wireless CarPlay. Now if I come out of this, I turn Bluetooth off, that's now going to quit. And obviously now I'm in wired CarPlay now. So with wired CarPlay, you can actually then play tracks and not have any delay whatsoever. So that's a benefit of wired CarPlay, but if you want to use wireless, then you've obviously got that Wi-Fi AirPlay delay, which is around about 2 to 3 seconds. So we're going to come out of this, we're going to put that aside, and then now we're going to check out Android Auto. Android Auto wireless needs Android Auto 11. I've only got a Realme 6 here, which I'm still waiting for the Android 11 update to get this onto wireless. So all I can show you today is wired version of Android Auto. So I'm connecting the USB-C cable into this device and then plugging in the Android Auto device here. And then once I've given it permission, it will boot up into Android Auto. So we're now running Android Auto pretty fast. We're now in here, we're straight into Google Maps. You've got the Spotify interface here as well, which you could probably carry on. So everything works as you expect with Android Auto. Everything's coming from the phone as it's wired. And you can then do Google Assistant. What's the weather like?
Right now in Brighton, it's 18 degrees and sunny.
Everything works. Android Auto in general. You've got all the apps that you might actually have here. So you can SMS, you can do Waze and stuff like that. One surprise for me on my phone, I don't know how I did it, but I've got this thing called Game Snacks. And it actually has some car-related games on it, which is a bit odd. Never seen that before. You can actually play like Candy Crush style games on your stereo, and I didn't think that existed. So oddly, you can play games, but I didn't know I had that on my Android phone. But that's something that CarPlay doesn't do. Google Maps, any other Android Auto app that you might want to run will run on this as long as it's plugged in. Or if you've got Android 11, you can then use it wirelessly. Another feature of this, if you go back home and I've got it connected, if you've got settings, then you go to smartphone and then you do Android Auto Link. And then we'll also do CarPlay, iOS Mirror. And from here, you can press on Auto Link. There's an app on the phone called Auto Link. You can download. It gives you a QR code when you go there. And then once you're in there, so we plug in the cable again whilst the app is running. And then when it's running, it will auto boot the actual app up. And then we tell it that we want to mirror. And then now it's mirroring the smartphone. So from here, you can then load up things like YouTube. And then we can actually then play any particular content. If you rotate the phone, all the audio will come through the car speakers.
We feel the effect of the fire.
Hi, it's Anthony from OUSMIN, and today I'm looking at a fantastic new Halo strap for the Oculus Quest 2 from Bobo VR. So keep watching for my review. So there's a little bit of an audio delay there. I don't know if it's because of the app or Android in general. So you got that ability. You can't really seek, obviously, because everything's all coming from the phone. So long as you've got it in landscape mode, you can actually watch it off here. But with most Android devices, your Android device is pretty much going to be the same as the stereo. So I don't think you're really gaining or losing out just by using your phone itself. But the option's there. So we'll disconnect this. So that's Android Mirror Link. I'm going to go back to the iPhone now. And iOS mirroring doesn't work over AirPlay. On this device, you have to use a cable. So with the cable plugged in and you plug in your phone, I'll unlock it, you've got an immediate connection to the device and you've also got mirroring. So from here, I can now load up, say, YouTube. Hi, it's Anthony from OpenPlay.com, and today I'm looking at a fantastic new... So that's not good. ...for the Oculus Quest 2 from Bobo VR. So keep watching for my review. So that's some serious audio delay on that one. That's not a good example, probably. Obviously I can't, I've just paused now and now it's caught up. So generally not a good experience for mirroring on your device. Again, if you've got a big phone, it's going to be almost the same as the 7-inch display. But if you've got a smaller phone, then you might enhance that with your car stereo speakers, for example, if you were to be watching something on here. But the experience, as you can see, it's not brilliant, and it really comes down to what app you're using. So it's just had a crash during the mirroring, so I'm going to try it again. So the quality looks really, really good, but the audio can be a bit hit and miss, and that again crashes it again. So that is not a good experience personally. I would probably not use that option. So after this crash, I'm going to try and reset it with a super long bit of metal.
A few moments later.
So it doesn't look like there's actually a button underneath that reset switch. Nothing like this can actually press anyway. So that whole reset doesn't actually do anything. And we've also seen that mic doesn't do anything either. So we're going to have to unpower the unit and power it back on again. So we're going to plug back in. We're going to try YouTube one more time. There have been many Halo straps available for the Quest and Quest 2. So there's like a slight delay, but I think it's acceptable. The quality is really, really good from the actual phone itself. But getting there is a bit hit and miss. So let's try Netflix. That stopped again. So it feels like the feed is always going to crash when you stop it from its phone, which is a bit strange. Right, so we're going to connect up our phone. We've got Netflix running right now. So we've got the mirroring going, but it doesn't look like it's going to do it. Yeah, cannot play title. Yeah, obviously being copyrighted and it's coming from the phone itself, it's not going to work. So unfortunately, it's not like an Android system where you can actually install a Netflix app on it, for example. You actually have to still connect it to the phone like any other sort of car system that does mirroring. And obviously the phone's not going to play it on the display. But YouTube kind of works with a little bit of a delay. If that's something that you're after, then that's something that can happen. So I've thrown some files onto the USB stick, various images and everything. We're going to plug it into the USB port here and see what we can do with the media playback. So I go straight into the media player here and we're playing a music straight away from one of the AAC tracks that was on it. So we can now go to the other track. We've got FLAC, MP3. So that all works. You've got the equalizer again if you want to go back into that. And from here you can go to the main menu, go to videos, and go into the folder. Then we've got MK4 sample, which will play the video playback. So if you've got any sort of videos or movies that you can put on the stick, you can plug that in and play it back here. High bitrate, Birds, seems to play that without any problem. Yeah, it plays that very well. No stuttering there. And we've got a MK movie sample. So MOVs, quite a lot of your variety of film or video files, you can actually then play it onto your head unit as well through the USB media. And finally, you've got images, which you can go through here. You can bring in an image. I don't think you can do much with it once it's there, other than view a slideshow. And then you've obviously got now playing, which is whatever's media is playing at the time. So that's USB media. Again, I can't show you front or rear camera video, but you just literally connect it and it should technically display on this system. We've gone over auto link. Dialing is pretty much straightforward once you connect it to Bluetooth. We can do that now just to show you. So connected to Bluetooth, we can then go to things like Spotify and play through this. And if I go back to here, you'll see it. Obviously audio tracks or album art won't carry over, but you can navigate between the various tracks and also navigate through them that way. I didn't cover the remote. So the remote is if you want to use the stereo from a distance. I don't really understand why people bundle remotes with aftermarket stereos. I guess if someone wants to sit in the back and be DJ, this will allow you to do that. You've got a very small emitter here, infrared receiver on the actual head unit. This actually works, unlike the other two options up here. If I put the volume up and change track, you can actually see it highlighting red here. Obviously this won't work with CarPlay, so it's only really going to work with Bluetooth audio. I'm not sure about Android Auto either, but it's anything that you're playing through either USB media or Bluetooth audio. This will then be able to change track and things like that. You can change obviously the band, the mode. You can mute the actual system as well. You can go home. That will take you home. You can also then, from home, you can then probably navigate the actual menus with the remote as well. So you can dip in and out of audio sources. And obviously you can raise and lower the volume as well through this remote too. The remote doesn't come with any batteries, but it's 2 AAA batteries inside. And obviously that should make the remote last quite a long time. So I think overall it's a cheap product. That obviously comes with lots of caveats in terms of its quality and just general performance. But I thought that the overall performance is very good. The quality of the screen is very good. Touch input isn't that laggy. You've got plenty of connections at the back, and it's good that you can actually use this port for Android Auto and CarPlay wired. The fact that it's got wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is also a massive benefit. The one issue I had probably is not only the display connections not being sort of symmetrical, but that's me. But the microphone input, that could be much more improved. And if you were to use screen mirroring, the performance isn't that great either. And it never really is for me. And in my general experience of using screen mirroring in cars and car systems. It's nice that you've got a separate actual volume knob and you don't have to worry about touchscreen controls. That's very good. And the fact that you can hold it down for Siri is good if you haven't got steering wheel controls. And also the ability to turn it on and off is also quite handy too. But there's lots of features in the background too, the screen dimming, independent volume controls, a very good graphic equalizer. I don't know what the full power output is for the car other than it's 4 times 48 watts. So you've got some generally decent amount of power going through to the speakers. But if you're looking for a cheap CarPlay stereo, probably many out there, but this is roughly in the sub $200 sort of range. It's got some good reviews on Amazon so far, only 8 ratings and it's 4.5 stars. So if you're on the lookout for a cheap wireless Android Auto and wireless CarPlay aftermarket receiver and you're on a budget for under sub $200 or sub £200, then this is probably not a bad unit if you can overlook its few little niggles. But if you can get a better microphone in your car, then I would probably look for that without using this one because the quality isn't 100%. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. If it has, please leave us a like down below and let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this head unit from OUSMIN. You can check out all my other head unit reviews in this playlist up here. Hit that subscribe button down below to catch all my future content, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.